pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have a motion to adopt the agenda. Second,
Second.
roll call please.
Mr. Norris?
Yes.
Mr. Rosenthal?
Yes.
Mrs. Crawford?
Yes.
Mr. Gonzalez?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Public participation. Each person who wishes to address the board will be asked to give his or her name and address. Remarks should be limited to 3 minutes in length. If everyone who wishes to do so had an opportunity to speak, additional comments could be made up to a total allotted time of 30 minutes. Wow, Joe. Okay. Number 3, treasurer report.
Okay, so items for approval, we have 3 board meetings to approve the minutes from. We have our regular meeting on June 13th, special meeting June 22nd, and special meeting from last night, July 10th. Disposal for auxiliary for Norwalk Catholic Schools. This is items that were purchased with their 401 auxiliary funds from the state. They're looking to dispose of them. Quite a bit, mostly outdated textbooks and other curriculum items. Then we have our pay rate for our learning loss long-term subs. We did this, well, I think this will be the 3rd year. Last year we did have two per building. We're going to move that down to 1 per building as we expend our ESSER funds. But we are going to keep the 2 at the high school. We have one that's dedicated completely to our Compass program. With the pay rate of $120 a day for them. I did pull the June 2023 financial reports off because we're not quite finished. June and both the end of the month and the end of the fiscal year, which is a pretty big deal for us. So we're still working through that. We are beyond some ready to go. As far as year end, we're looking, as I had said when we did our forecast meeting, we're looking to about break even. We had a little bit slightly negative. We did not, as I had mentioned, we did not receive our Medicaid settlement, which was around $125,000, $150,000. So that may tipped us over a little bit into the negative, but it was pretty much a break even for year end. So what we'll do is next board meeting, we'll go over that in depth and we'll also be able to talk a little bit more about what's going on with the state budget. It was just passed. There's quite a bit in it. As far as schools go, we don't have the actual numbers yet. There were different things that they pulled out. A lot of it is still restricted funding, which is unfortunate when we have to refer on everything we do instead of just paying our teachers. And there's a lot of policy changes that we're just finding out about in the budget bill. So we'll know more update on that later. So that's all I have for you this month.
Thank you, Joyce. We have a motion to adopt all items under number 3, treasurer's report.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
any discussion? No? Roll call please.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Mr. Norris?
Yes.
Mrs. Crawford?
Yes.
Mr. Gonzalez?
Yes.
Mr. Rosenthal?
Yes. Eric will get you on the next one.
Number 4, personnel.
For personnel, we have several resignations. Marcy Burns, she is a teacher. She is similar to Jessica Enderly, will be teaching through September. We have hired someone in her place, but she is our new director for our local Boys and Girls Club. So we are very excited to have Marcy Burns. So she's double duty up until October 1, and then she will be exclusively as our director. So very excited. Boys and Girls Club is kicked off here this week with our summer program, then rolling into the school year. So she is the right person for the job. So I'm very excited for Mrs. Burns. Lisa Elliott is a bus driver retiring. Cody McCoy was a football coach short time with us. And then Kathleen Scheller is transportation aide and the cook helper. She also is going to stay on board. Kathy will as a substitute as well. She's excited to continue on, but retiring, but still wants to do those jobs as well. So excited to have her continue as well. Number 2, employment of Caitlin Cannon. That second round interview happened yesterday. That was our last official hire for our Norwalk City School District for teachers for the 23-24 school year. So excited to have her on board. She's 7 years of experience, going into 8, has been in a lot of different environments, venues, and she's coming with our reading series, Leader in Me, some of our security features. Like, she has worked those things already, so she's bringing a lot of experience. And I'll say under 10 years is still a young teacher, but she's bringing a lot of experience. Will definitely help at our Maplehurst staff. 3, Nina Kerr, she was our long-term substitute. So this is a person who showed very well in that position of being a long-term substitute, and she is a full-time position as intervention specialist at Maplehurst. Number 4 is employment of Lori Wilkin. She is coming to us from Fostoria. She actually is filling the Marcy Burns position. So Marcy Burns was a science teacher. We have some internal moves. Actually, there's our science move for Katie Laser into teaching science. And then Lori will be social studies. So that's how she will be used. So that was the top choice for the Main Street position. Number 5, we have Adam Kreischer, $2,000 stipend. That's a continuation of many years of that direct stipend is used for all the alternative disciplines. So that's not just high school. He also services middle school and Maine for individuals that are serving additional school time for consequences with the building discipline. Number 6, stipend for long list of Maplehurst teachers there for kindergarten screening scheduled for August 8th of this coming year. Number 7, we have 5 additional days for Mrs. Smith. So as you know, we're extending our pre-K program. She's a dedicated staff member. She's unbelievable. I talked in our pre-board agenda meeting. We could give her probably many more days, but she's a great person and making sure that our program is run well. And so that is 5 days to recap or finish off the 22-23 year. She will also be listed here in August with our additional teachers as we give them extended time for the 23-24 school year, many doing the days before the kids begin and then some at the end. So those split contracts. Number 8, we have special contracts, Jessica Montague, Safety Patrol. That is filling the position of Robin Rogers, who held it previously. Norwalk Middle School, we have several, as you know, the names there, former trucker football kids who have liked the program, liked what their experience, and are happy to come back as now coaches. So
Took my junior trucker coach.
yeah, so that's good to see. Yeah, it's good to see that they went through their high school, all their years in Norwalk and want to come back and now be in that position of a coach. So different roles. So young guys that will learn that position, and it's different than being a player, and you learn that pretty quickly. And those guys will as well. Volleyball, Jessica Woodland, paid position for Norwalk Middle School. We have Dave Daniels, who will be assistant coach for cross country at the high school. And then very excited about 9, we've talked about this previously, Main Street Intermediate and Norwalk Middle School will now have drama, theater, musical, so kind of a combination there. So kids will not just have their Norwalk High School experience with the musical. Those things will begin as grade 5, grade 6, and then on to 7 and 8. So Jamie Broker has a vast amount of experience there. So she is our point as the drama advisor for those 4 grades. And then Allison Crook-Schnell will be the assistant, and she too is very active in high school and brings a lot of experience. So very excited about those 2. We talked about giving kids more opportunities. That's very much one of those ads that Norwalk City School District has done. I'm very excited for that in the 23-24 school year. Volunteer coaches for Norwalk High School, we have Chris Jackson for boys golf and Lauren Maloney for cross country. And that concludes personnel. Mrs. President.
Thank you, Brad. We have a motion to adopt all items under number 4, personnel.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Any discussion? I mean, Jeremy's pouting a little bit. I don't know if you have to note that.
That's my page. Not volunteer.
All right, roll call, please.
Mr. Gonzalez?
Yes.
Mr. Isabella?
Yes.
Mrs. Crawford?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Mr. North?
Yes.
Number 5, superintendent report.
Yes, item for approval. We have the combination. We've done this for several years. Elementary has gone together, so they have a handbook that crosses all 3 buildings. So there's one that covers those 3, and then Main Street has a standalone, and then Norwalk Middle School. So those are handbooks that need approved for the 23-24 school year. Number 2 is a standard fare, Fisher Tice Medical for rehab therapy services. That's a contract that will have to be signed if you approve that contract. Number 3 is Ohio Developmental Supports, basically transportation for our students that need that. So that is there in case that occurs in the 23-24. So that is there if we need to use that for a bus and transportation piece. Number 4, we have talked about, we actually had a special meeting on the drug testing policy. So I'm recommending to you as a board that we implement that for 23-24 for grades 7 to 12. So Norwalk Middle School and Norwalk High School, eligible students are those that are either student athletes, drive to school and park in our parking lots, and then those involved in extracurricular activities. So with your approval, you're simply saying yes to the policy, and then the logistics will fall in the hands of high school administration, middle school administration, and athletic council, who Mr. Norris serves on as well. And we worked with Kristen Cardone, who some of you know, with MHAS, and Tim Hollinger. So that's when we involve the community, because we want to look at not just, it's not a matter of, we want to catch kids in the act or doing, we want to say, what's the preventative measure? We want to give our kids the opportunity to say, what's the reason I can avoid, participating in these things that we know we don't want our kids to participate in. We're very excited because there's another caveat to that we're going to have is basically an opt-in. So parents will have the opportunity to say, I would like my child who maybe doesn't fit in any of those, in those three categories of extracurricular, student athlete, or parking here, can still say, I want my kid in part of that list, that he or she can be included. So when those random tests happen, he or she can be drawn for that. So that's an opportunity to extend beyond just that, what some would say a smaller percentage of our student body. As you know, Ohio Revised Code, we're not allowed to test all. So sometimes you've had people that come to you and say, can we do all? We cannot do that. So this is what the law permits us to do. So with your approval, the ball's in the court of the admin team and our counseling staff and our whole community, for that matter, of how are we addressing the logistics of this. We want to have those things in order because Mr. Slaughter meets with many parents on July 27th. That is the OHSA, the parent meeting, where he would like to have those basics defined and detailed more than what we have this day. So, and that is all.
Thank you, Brad. May I have a motion to adopt all items under number 5, superintendent's report? Second?
Second.
Any discussion?
There are other schools around our area that are doing this drug testing program, aren't there?
Correct.
Yeah, so we're not
There are many schools that have
we're
done
one of
this.
the last ones.
Yeah.
Okay.
There are, you could put on one hand in the area of those schools that do not. So this is by no means, we're the first to this, but we definitely see the need. And the times have changed where you talk to parents, you talk to teachers, you see what's happening here. And we can't say, well, just ignore it. We want our kids to be in a position to say, I don't want to participate in that. And if you are, we want to find that way so there's an alternative. So I don't need to continue down this path. It's not healthy for our kids. And those that are involved in participation of athletics, we know those things are not good. It's not good for anybody. But we want to give them the opportunity to say, I'm not going to partake in that. If that is happening, it's not going to be punitive in the sense that we want that person to be involved. We want he or she to be still in clubs and activities. They need to be in the mix, but we need to change that because the state of Norwalk and the state of many different school districts, the state of our country is going in a direction where these things are far too simple. They're far too simple to access and vape and illicit illegal drugs innovate, and it's happening often. So like I said, it's not a Norwalk issue by any means. It's across the board, but we realize we need to step in and play a part in that to assist our kids for the betterment of their health.
So we're one of many that are
Correct.
positive.
Correct.
The other question, Brad, you talked about the kids that drive in park. What if the person driving brings a car load? Are they parking? Are they part of it? Or?
It's only that who owns the
It's only
vehicle
you,
because that's park based, like your ticket based on that. So your parking permit is tied to that individual.
So the other kids have to be clubs or something else?
Right.
Okay.
And follow up on what Brad said too, I like that we're going to add it to final forms. So for that age range. So if a parent's not seeing this or didn't read the paper, they're going to have that short, explanation what it is and be able to opt in. And like Brad said, it's about trying to help, we all have to try to help kids make better decisions. And it's not just drugs, it's nicotine too. So it's the vaping of the nicotine and all of that can be included. So I think it's really great. And I'm glad we're able to help parents and help kids make good decisions.
And Kristen Cardone, having her work with us and the team, that's critical because those are the resources we have in our community. That's who we need to use because it's not a Norwalk City School District answering the only call. We have many resources, we have many assets in this community, and we all need to work together. So Kristen Cardone, Tim Hollander, those people working with us because they see a whole perspective different from our eyes in a school setting. So working together, where are kids going? Because that's the issue. Where do kids go for counseling? The number one issue is you can have a kid go to counseling. Well, guess what? Nobody can get into counseling for 6 months, 3 months. And how can you have real time? You want to address the issue and then, well, it happens now. Well, December, you should be able to get in to see XYZ person that can assist. we need to develop a program where that's immediate, quick, and its first response is, what do we do with our students? That's what needs to happen. Because ultimately, we don't want to lose any kid to say, I choose that over participating, because we would look at the cases of most or all, and people need to be involved, because when student athletes, when people are in clubs, are at their best, they're involved. They're in school, they're doing things that this is the magnet, this is the drawing card of why they like to be here. Not, I want to go and do these other things which are counter to, healthy living.
Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Norris?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Mrs. Crawford?
Yes.
Mr. Gonzalez?
Yes.
Mr. Ritzenthaler?
Yes.
Number 6, board items. So we have 4 items for approval under board item: adoption of pickup STRS, adoption of pickup SDRS, approval of superintendent contract Brad Cooley, and approval of treasurer contract Joyce DuPont. We have a motion for adoption of items number 1 through 4 under number 6 board items. Second,
Second.
discussion. And I have a little thing here. With the contract renewals, I just want to say, we as a district and community are really blessed to have Joyce DuPont and Brad Cooley signing new 5-year contracts. I do not believe we could have a more dedicated and passionate superintendent for Norwalk City Schools. Mr. Cooley's commitment to employing the best teachers and giving students the most opportunities during their time in Norwalk is unwavering. He is not afraid to stand up for what is best for our district, and under his leadership, Norwalk City School District is destined to be successful. For Mrs. DuPont, her knowledge and enthusiasm for public schools is like no other. Her work is invaluable to the functioning of our district. Without her skill set, we would not be able to continue to provide the level of excellence we aspire to provide for our students. I don't know many people who can make learning about public funding fun, but Joyce can. So their qualities and their temperaments complement each other and make for an invincible administrative team. So I want to thank you both for everything that you do.
Couldn't agree more.
Thank you for signing 5 years with us.
Thank you. We appreciate it. We appreciate it greatly.
It's nice to know.
You say a lot. So any other discussion? Comments? No? Okay. Roll call, please.
Mr. Norris?
Yes.
Mr. Gonzalez?
Yes.
Mrs. Crawford?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Mr. Ritzenthaler?
Yes.
All right. So board discussion and comments. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't really cut you off. We're just moving right along in July, right? Okay, board discussion and comments. Ehoke News.
Okay, just have a couple of things. First of all, as of last month, because they're always a day after us, their enrollment was around 950 to 975, which is the highest we've ever had. Also, the good news is that every department or every program they have is completely full. This is the first time in their history that they're able to fill it. So they're really excited about that. And so I'll get an update tomorrow. And, they're anticipating close to 1,000. It's close now, but it's just be 1,000.
That's really great. Legislative report.
As mentioned, we didn't pass the state budget. There is a lot to it. They did keep some good things. The literacy, there's some stipends out there for teachers, both to pursue more as far as College Credit Plus, because they really want students to do College Credit Plus in the schools, not so much go to the college campus, because it's definitely, as Brad said, better for them to be here with us. So that's good to see that, they'll help train with our teachers with the literacy. There were some definite unfortunate policy changes in there that we'll talk about later. But until we get the actual detail, right now it's just too broad to really get into a whole lot of it. So there's some good and there's some bad. We have all the numbers here soon, hopefully.
At our next meeting, we'll have more info to share for sure. After, as you say, the bad conference.
Yes, we have.
The
Budget
acronym was,
analysis and discussion,
Yeah.
the BAD conference, which every 2 years is a BAD conference. And we do need to set up a meeting, a special meeting, so that we can do our retire, rehire for our returning teachers.
So what days are you looking at to the board can?
so so the 4 of us had July 31st that we had talked at our pre-board agenda meeting. If that would be, and that is not going to be lengthy, but that's going to look at the retire, rehiring, that part, and there might be one other item. So it would be a very brief meeting.
Is it a special meeting or just?
It is a special meeting, so our regular session, I believe, is August 8th, is the regular August session. And this is due to the ORC that has a time frame of 15 to 30 days, and the August 8th window does not work. That's why we can do that. July 31st, it's a Monday.
That's okay with me.
Oh,
It's a Monday.
Tell me what time.
What
What
time?
time?
If we could do evening, I have a work session.
You know I gotta be in the evening.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Okay, I figured. We
preferably.
didn't call that a rain day. and we
Yeah,
didn't go
what
into
time?
Do
it.
you want to do 6:30 again?
I would be fine. 6:30. Okay.
6:30 on Monday the 31st.
Good for me.
That's good with me.
All right, if we do the board office, I mean, it shouldn't be
Yeah, that I would,
a short meeting, that way we don't have to make everybody come in here.
that board office. is fine.
Board office,
The board off.
6:30.
And then we want to also welcome officially Eric to his first board meeting that's, public and not in executives.
They don't usually last this short either.
Yeah, you're lucky.
I like it.
Yeah, but really excited to have you here and welcome and happy to have
It's amazing having a student.
That
was some time ago.
Yeah.
Welcome, yes. Good to be a part, really, I'm looking forward to it.
That just shows how old you and I are.
I was just saying, you want to age yourself, sir. You go right ahead. Just kidding.
Our gray hair shows it.
Well, can I get a motion to adjourn?
So, second.
Thank you, everyone.